Welcome to the original Gangsters podcast. I'm your host, Scott Burnstein, quick hitter edition. And we're going to talk about Joey Merlino and a picture that surfaced in the last couple of days. And this seems to be a trend since the fallout with LCN and when Merlino was, however we want to describe it, kind of pressured off the throne last year after 30 years of leading the Philadelphia mob. He is now former Mafia Don Joey Merlino and is at odds with a lot of very powerful Mafia bosses in New York City. And it appears that one of the methods that Joey is using to, I would say, protect himself. And I also just want to say that, like, Merlino's fucking brilliant. Like, the way he finesses some of this stuff and is able to tell a story without actually saying anything. He's like, it's like, you know, people, and I'm going to tie this into Donald Trump in a second, but it's like people that think that Donald Trump is dumb, like, he's the most brilliant politician, love him or hate him regarding what he, you know, right or left. You can't, as someone who studies politics, you can't deny that Donald Trump is brilliant. And there's a lot of times that people think he's being dumb and it's like he's playing you. So like I see some of this playing out in the Merlino drama. So this week, photos surfaced of Joey Merlino at Mar-a-Lago, taking a photo with a very, very notorious Israeli gangster. Seeing the photo right now on Joey's right, or it's on Joey's left, but our right is a gangster, Jewish mobster, Israeli mafia enforcer by the name of the Hammer Waknine, and comes from the Jerusalem Mafia, a crime family known as the Abergil crime family, and has been one of their main lieutenants in the United States for the last 30 years, is a convicted felon, is known to be incredibly powerful, dangerous, and rich. And again, this appears to be a trend with Merlino when he's been on, you know, shaky ground with the powers that be in LCN. He's kind of showing his hand, if we're going to make a poker analogy, that like, you guys better be weary of ever thinking of making any type of move on me. And again, we're not in an era where people are being killed or shot or violence is erupting on a regular basis in the world of the mafia like it was forever. It's a much more peaceful era. So I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but, you know, if you're Joey Merlino, you got to watch your back. And he's been telegraphing a lot of his non-LCN connections to guys like Waknine. We reported last year about him taking meetings with a number of powerful biker bosses in multiple clubs. We've talked about how he's kind of reaffirmed his alliance with the Junior Black Mafia, the Philadelphia African-American organized crime group, and kind of seen out and about with these people. And again, it's a message, the way I'm interpreting it, to anybody that might want to do him harm. You know, he doesn't have the protection of LCN anymore. He's no longer a Mafia Don. But he's telling people, you know, watch your step. I got guys like Waknine watching my back. So it's not by coincidence. These pictures that make it out or stories that come out about him being with certain people that maybe there's not photos of, but there's other ways to confirm it. And then maybe the biggest flex of all is, where was that photo taken? It was taken at Mar-a-Lago. There was a photo of Trump and Merlino that came out a couple of years ago. There's some other photos of them that I've seen that I might be able to that nobody else is, the public hasn't seen, that hopefully I'll be able to share in the coming weeks. But it's not this photo that came out. It's not just Merlino saying, "Hey, I got the Israeli mafia watching my back." He's also saying, "Hey, I got the president watching my back." If you want to interpret it in that way. So again, just to give a little bit more color on High the Hammer. These guys, they're known as the Jerusalem Mafia, or the Abergil crime family. And they came to the United States in the 1990s and planted flags mainly in Miami, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles, a little bit in New York City. They immediately cornered the ecstasy market, and a big chunk of the club drugs that were flowing into this country in the late 90s, early 2000s were coming from the Abergils, and kind of the tip of the spear of the Abergils was High Waknine. He was a collector, a regulator, somebody that made sure that the Abergil brothers in Jerusalem, these were all Moroccan Jews, North African Jews that had immigrated to Israel, and then a big chunk of that group came to the United States. And they were known for gambling, drugs, loan sharking, extortion, the kind of the run-of-the-mill rackets, but they were also known for crazy wealth, lavish parties. It was reported in the early 2000s that Waknine and other members of the Abergil crime family, rented out like 1,000 rooms at Bally's on the Strip in Las Vegas, and held a luxury Passover Seder, April of 2003, I believe, and it was like a Jewish meal, the likes of Jewish holiday meal, the likes of had never been seen before. And then Waknine, according to his case, and he had to go do 5 years. I think he went in from 2005 to 2010. And there are some rumors that Joey might have met High Waknine behind bars. That's not confirmed. We also know that Joey spent a good amount of time in LA in the 2010s. His sister lived out there. And Waknine collected millions of dollars of debts for the Abergils, and these weren't, $20,000 debts or $50,000 debts. These were $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, debts from various business people, racketeers, drug dealers, club owners that were beholden to the Abergil crime family. And a lot of luxury car dealerships, nightclubs, a lot of the activity, the legal activity that the Abergils were doing were running through those kind of businesses, and they were laundering money from a bank in Israel and then loaning out the money that they were stealing and laundering on the street. So, this is a real serious individual, and he's somebody that also has found his way into certain pockets of professional and college sports. He's been known to socialize with a lot of pro athletes. And in fact, he was featured in an episode of 30 for 30, the ESPN docuseries, where they did a deep dive into Maurice Clarett, name from the past for people that, remember Maurice Clarett, the running back for Ohio State, tried to challenge the NFL's policy about when he can kind of come into the league. And when he was telling this story to ESPN, it came out that when he left Ohio State and was training for the draft for a year or two in LA, he was living with High Waknine. Waknine became like a surrogate father to him. If that foreshadowed anything, it was the fact that Clarett would have a ton of legal problems after his NFL career came to a halt very quickly. and he had to go do some prison time. He kept on getting in trouble, substance abuse, robbery, and whatnot. But he was hanging with High Waknine, and that's who Joey Merlino was with last week at Mar-a-Lago. And it's just every time you think the guy's, on the canvas, knocked out, he pops back up and hits you with a right cross to the jaw. So he ain't going down. He's going to be around, whatever the label is. This guy is just such a unicorn in the world that we cover. Again, love him or like him. He's so historically significant for this kind of stuff. Just giant fuck yous to anybody that wants to doubt him. And then he pops up online, and this didn't come in. This wasn't something that he promoted on his social media. This was promoted by High the Hammer's wife, who put it on her social media, and then it started to circulate. So, and again, there's all a method to this madness, and Merlino wants this narrative out that he's got people like High Waknine watching his back. So I just wanted to report that. And again, Trump was at Mar-a-Lago this past weekend. I have no idea if there was any FaceTime between Merlino, Waknine, and Trump, but the fact that they could even step foot onto the property, two convicted felons and major organized crime figures, tells you something. You got to get vetted to a degree if you're not a member of the club, especially now where Trump's president again, and that's the winter White House. So he made his first trip, I think, in a couple months, or at least maybe since the inauguration, made his first trip there this past weekend, and then these pictures of Merlino and Waknine come out. So is it a coincidence? I don't know. But again, we got some more exclusive Merlino content that we're going to be rolling out in these next couple of weeks. Some exclusive reporting on stuff you never heard about that's really compelling, and then some photos that we're going to be rolling out that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else but here. So Scott Burnstein, Original Gangsters Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're here every day uncovering the underworld, one city, one region, one country at a time. I'll see you next time. Scott Burnstein, I'm out.